What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Red One back here with another YouTube video. Today we want to talk about failures, how to think about fails, how to count your losses, how to move on from them, how to react to them. Should you fail? Should you be scared of them? And how should you operate within them? All right, so let's get straight into it. Failing is a natural process of life. So for a lot of people who are scared to do something because you're like, oh, I don't want to fail, man. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to be wrong. I want to take my time, do the research, be prepared, and then get into it so I don't make any mistakes. There's a level of truth to it that, like, yes, once you're doing something, when you're getting into something, you should sit down, you should think this through, you should prepare yourself, you should do as much research as you can, and don't jump into anything without doing any research, and try to mitigate your failures as much as you can. However, a lot of people are so afraid to make mistakes that you don't take action. Now that's a big problem. That's gonna be your worst mistake ever, of you not taking action, not wanting to move forward, being so afraid of your fails that you never make a difference, that you never take those risks, is gonna be one of the biggest things that's gonna hold you back and lead you to your downfall. So it's very important that if you want something, that you go get it. If you want something, that you start trying, that you take action, that you don't sit there and be so afraid of the failures that you don't do it. For example, let's say you're trying to go get a job, and to take a job, you're gonna have to go out, you're gonna have to apply to different companies, you're going to have to hand out resumes, you're gonna have to do interviews, and in many places they're not going to accept you. In many places they're gonna decline your offer, they're not gonna offer you the job. Maybe you get the job, but maybe you don't last too long. Maybe you last a month, 2 months. All of these things are necessary so you can land that job that you need, that's good for you. It's necessary so you can go get that dream job that you're planning for, that you're working for. It's very necessary that you take these risks, that you take these things, and you make these mistakes. So number one thing about failures is, don't be afraid to make failures. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Do what you have to do. Take the necessary action that you need to take to move forward, and don't be afraid of failures. Step two is learn from your failures. Okay, you're gonna fail a lot. Okay, in this journey, I have failed a lot. I don't know anybody who's successful or who have achieved anything in their life have not failed at least once. So everybody in context is going to fail, and you're going to fail multiple times, a lot of times, but it's up to you to make sure that you count your losses. Okay, so you need to take your failure at a rate, which is, when you fail at something, you need to learn from it, and you need to remember, how next time am I not going to make the same mistake. If you're going and applying to jobs, and each time you go to a job interview and you see yourself being nervous and you start stuttering and you don't pull off a job interview properly, that's a clear sign for you to not just keep on failing every single time. That's a very clear sign for you to now sit there and be like, okay, I need to reevaluate my situation. Clearly, I'm not prepared enough to do these interviews. What should I be doing? Okay, I'm gonna prepare a script in advance. I'm going to prepare for the types of questions they might be asking. Every time you do an interview, focus on what they ask. They ask you what your qualifications are, what you bring to the company, this and that. So make sure you're ready for that you're prepared for that you're not shocked when they come up with these things. Before you go into the interview, a day before, sit there with a partner and then practice. Do interview questions, do a mock trial, do mock practices as if you're in an interview, and practice. And like these ways, you're going to improve on your mistakes. So mistakes are okay to make, but to repeatedly make the same mistake over and over and over, that's just stupidity. You need to sit there and you need to genuinely work on yourself and improve on the mistakes you're making. So it's okay to make mistakes. That's, like I said, that's part of the process. There's no way you're going to get ahead without making mistakes. Mistakes are the reason that you're going to be able to move yourself forward. But the most important thing that you must understand is that as you're making mistakes, you should be continuously learning from them and getting better. And your goal is to improve through every mistake. Not every mistake you're making should be repeated over time and over time and over time. You should continuously be improving and learning from your mistakes. Step number 3, this is an advanced tip for making mistakes. You can learn from other people's mistakes, okay? This is very crucial. You don't have to make every single mistake in this world, okay? Some mistakes can be very clearly avoided. And that's by taking advice from people who are ahead of you in the game. Okay, so again, you don't have to make every single mistake. Some mistakes you can be like, ahead of the time. You just know that you don't need to make these mistakes. Okay, so what are some examples of that? If you know you're gonna go work for this company and you have a friend who's already in the company and they specifically tell you, hey, don't bring this up, or mention this specific thing in your resume. Like, mention that, let's say you're going to a dry cleaning business, mention that you have previous cleaning business. If you mention these specific things, you're gonna get the job, and it's a mistake not to mention it. It's your job now not to make the mistake, because you don't always have to make the same mistakes. You don't always have to learn from yourself, especially if you have the help, especially if you have somebody who can help you, guide you, give you the shortcut on skipping that step. 10 out of 10 times skip it. Like, maybe 9 out of 10 times skip it. Like, sometimes you might think, and you have to be really, like, intellectually smart and be very deep into your level of understanding of life to, like, really process these things out. But if you know for sure, factually, if you know for sure through all evidence that maybe somebody's giving you advice and it's wrong, and you probably have a better chance of surviving doing what you're doing, again, it's worth taking that shot, because now it's the same thing. Doing so, you'll learn from it. Was it a mistake, or was it something worth doing? And you'll be able to hold yourself accountable for that. At the end of the day, no one's going to hold you accountable except for you yourself. So it's very important that you yourself get up and take some accountability and learn from these things, right? So one of the things you can do is don't make these mistakes by yourself. If somebody's giving you the clean getaway, like, hey, don't do this, do this, and it's clear as night and day, and obviously if you take this advice it's going to help you, do it. Okay, if I told you in advance before you go to a job interview, here's 5 questions, like, 3 out of these 5 questions will be there, and I want you to practice in advance the questioning and answering, so you don't stutter, you don't get nervous during the interview. You should do that. When somebody tells you interview is going to be overwhelming, be prepared for it. So do not ever be afraid of making mistakes. And again, in general, as Christians, we should never be afraid in general. Always have trust in the Lord that He has your back. Why would you sit there and be afraid when you have somebody like God with you? Even the Lord Himself said that, like, the wise man will fail 7 times, but he will rise back up again. So there's no reason you're going to sit there and you're going to be failing on random things. That doesn't make any sense. He says that, don't have fear, believe in me. And so, I'm paraphrasing, but the verses are so clear that these are God's teachings. And so you don't have to be afraid. Believe in God and He has your back. And everything that's meant to be is meant to be. Go wherever you're going with pure confidence that the Lord has your back, right? And that you can do this, because the Lord is not going to fail you, okay? He's not going to fail you. He's with you. So have that confidence to do these things. So avoid these mistakes, okay? First of all, don't be afraid of action. Never be afraid. God is with you. Never be afraid. Take action. Take action as necessary. Step 2, when you make a mistake, learn from it, revise your plan, improve your plan, move forward. Step 3, if best possible, avoid the mistakes in advance by learning from other people who know things better than you in your field, and avoid the mistakes, because you don't always have to make a mistake. If you can avoid it, if you can take a shortcut, if somebody can help you exceed not making these mistakes, just skip them, because you're gonna make mistakes regardless of whether somebody gives you advice, whether you try it in your life. You have enough mistakes you're gonna make. Avoid them as necessary. All right, that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys found this video insightful. If you guys like content like this, please make sure to subscribe so I can keep making more content like this for you guys. Give me a thumbs up. Comment down below if you want anything specific that you want me to clear up. If you guys watched till this far, I want you guys to write down the word action in the comments below. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace!